Welcome to Courageous Conviction. Remember that Jeff and I record each Saturday 5 episodes. So please hit the like button, subscribe so you catch all 5 episodes. We usually start out with one theme or topic. We have to go down a lot of rabbit holes to really understand it. Some things are more sensitive than others right now, what's going on in the world. So hit the like button, subscribe, and let's jump into this video. I know of a couple that came, native couple, and I can support this. They understand the Constitution. They know that we need to maintain that Constitution. They came because they want to be where Christ is going to be, and that is going to be in the tent of Zion, not the stakes of Zion, by the way. It's what they've told me, and it kind of opened my eyes to this. Yeah, he's going to come to Zion, this tent of Zion, not the stakes. The tent is where the best protection is going to be as well. That's where the 10 tribes will come back to. That's where the city of Phoenix is going to come back to, right? That's that gathering that's going to take place. And it's currently, I would offer you, underway right now as we watch these red states form. Brigham said the filter of that gathering would be the U.S. Constitution in its original form. In other words, with its original amendments and so forth. And that seems to be what the filter is today, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me on that if you will. Tell me what's causing people to go to the red states right now. What is it? If it's not the Constitution and not the support of the Constitution and the abilities to be able to live under that Constitution and those rights that it offers, then why are they going and gathering there? Why are so many people leaving California and New York and these areas that are just rid with crime now? Because they have also allowed in mass immigration. And I would just say this much. As I drive around here, when I left 20 years ago, what was predominantly white is not white anymore. White. I went to a baseball game. And it's funny how this is. I go to a baseball game, a local baseball game. When I used to go there 20 years ago, we used to sponsor that team. It's a single A team, a pro team, but single A. And we used to sponsor a team with our company. And I would go and it would be packed. We had to get there in time or the seats would be sold out. I take off and I go into the 3rd inning the other day. And it's like discounted night for the seats and for the beer and everything they had there. Not that I was interested in the beer. I'm just giving the idea, though, that should be drawing in the people. I bet you that whole stadium, it's a nice stadium, too. It's a nice stadium. I bet you the whole stadium wasn't 100 people. And out of those 100 people, I think maybe, if that, 20% were white. Now, I'm not trying to make an issue here of race. I'm just trying to give an example. So, don't jump to conclusions here. Hear me out, please. The other was what I was surrounded by and the type of race and culture I was surrounded by. I wouldn't want to take my children to the game ballpark anymore because of all the F-bombs and all the sort of vulgar language from both employees in the stadium and those that were scattered out around us. And the greed of the foul balls of these certain cultures wanting all of it for themselves. Some of them had bags full of baseballs. And yet you heard some fans yelling, hey, man, show those little kids. That's what it's all about. These are grown adults in their 30s and their 40s out there getting these baseballs. But it's just a cultural mindset of to take all they can. I may tell you this right now, too, of what's coming here, the diversity of people that are rivers and so forth. The contamination is going to increase. You want to go catch trout in Ecuador? Good luck with that. Why? Because the rivers are being killed off. Why? Because the local people there use the rivers to wash their clothes. They even do in the Amazon jungle. And in those areas, you see soap floating everywhere. You see bottles floating from the soap being used by whoever was down washing the clothes, principally the women in those cultures. But they will go down to the regular rivers and they'll use chemicals and wash their clothes, thinking that's perfectly fine. They don't think about the consequence of the fish. So good luck finding trout in Ecuador. Now, they're not native there, but they've been planted everywhere. However, they're destroyed. The other is they'll take in different type of poisons of the water or even dynamite and they'll throw it in the water and the fish come up and they gather all the fish. Their mentality is survival of fish. Take all you can. And they'll take it and they'll eat some today, put stuff away for the next couple of days, and they'll go out and sell it, get the money and spend that. And 2 weeks later, they have no food and the money's gone. And yet there's no resource to go back to. They're very famous for cutting off the neck of the goose of the golden egg to reach in and try to find the golden eggs, only to destroy the actual process of how the golden eggs were actually produced. And that's what's coming. And that's what diversity does. It destroys the golden egg. Too much diversity. if it's integrated in slowly, and I'm not saying anything about immigration because obviously my forefathers came over on the third boat that came over, bringing people seeking religious freedom. So I come back from the very founding, the very mooring of American people, and some don't, and that's okay with that. I'm not saying you have to. What I'm saying that is there needs to be a different type of immigration. What's taking place right now is an invasion, and it's intention for a brownout. If you can look at these areas, I look at my home city. My city right now is actually flying drones at nighttime. The police are flying drones over. Now, I shouldn't say that. I saw the drones personally. I have family have seen the drones. I have other people have seen the drones, some during the day. I saw it at night. And I assumed because it had to be a government drone for its altitude and the size of the drone and where it was flying, the airspace was flying into, and how far it went by being controlled. Had to be something that was government issued. Now, I've heard from my son yesterday, yeah, this came out, and he pointed me to find research this. I haven't done it yet, that they came out that this is the actual police and they're actually monitoring. So you have no privacy. What if you're in your backyard laying out and you're laying out topless, or you just walk around naked in your backyard? Maybe you like to do that. It's your private area. Right? I'm not saying that's what I do or anything. I'm just saying, what if a lot of women lay out topless because they don't want to get, tan marks or whatever on their chest? There's no privacy anymore. That's a complete violation. This is what they do in China. And this is coming because of crime increase, because of the whole idea of diversity. We're going to diverse ourselves and bring these people in. Now, will Zion be a diverse nation? Yes, it will be very diverse, but it's going to be a diverse people that are like-minded. That's the Constitution. Remember that filter? So that's the difference. You have diversity of those that are like-minded. Now, they're walking under the same Constitution. That's a beautiful thing because you have a culture that's united, and you can have different foods and so forth like that pop up that are from different cultures, which are great. I love Mexican food, right? But I'm not liking the invasion that's coming from Mexico and what's taking place in the crime increase that brings, because they bring that mentality with them. Right now, you're talking also what's going to only increase this cartels in this invasion. You have a nation now that's going to downplay the drug of marijuana, and they're going to make it a misdemeanor nationwide. Why do you think they have these huge marijuana farms and they're coming and squatting on land all around me here in these mountains? There are cartel. It's not safe to just take off and go in the mountains before like we used to, and we're restricted, and we have rules now that won't allow us to, but for our safety, right? Because of this diversity. So we need to be very careful in this diversity. Be stoic in what we're doing with this diverse plan, right? Okay, Walter, let's go ahead and finish up the video.
Wrong with our leaders. The underlying sentiment of what they say is always the same. Our establishment claims that white people are evil and that our history is somehow fundamentally different from that of others. Consciously or unconsciously, they have sucked up the lies and the anti-white dogmas of the neo-Marxist critical race theory. That's why the totalitarians in Brussels are trying to force you, the Hungarian people, a sovereign nation, to accept immigrants despite the fact that the population has said no, and so has the government. But make no mistake, the majority of the Dutch people haven't asked for this either. Just like Brussels is forcing Hungary to accept these hordes of immigrants, they are doing the same now, even in the smallest of towns in the Netherlands. No part may remain Dutch in the traditional sense of the word. No part of Europe may remain European. And it's not difficult to understand why.
I think I'm going to put the video down below. I think that if you want to watch the rest of it, you're more than welcome to. I'm just going to kind of conclude here with this, that what she's stating are statistics of true facts of which we've watched over the last probably 20 years in Europe, right? And you've had this going on here at the same time. The same people that were going into Europe were coming here too. You had, during the Barack Obama era, you had the big Islamic invasion, if you will. And that was right after, not long after 9/11, which is kind of ironic that we have this attack from these groups, and yet then we open up our home for it. And now here's the consequence. You start to see it now rise up places. You had a truck here recently blow up on I-95. Is anybody asking, was that a terrorist attack? How many trucks with gas do you see just blow up on the road? You don't see that. But people, oh wow, look at that. That's really kind of weird. That's really weird, huh? Well, you don't question that stuff, do you? When things are rising up right now, as a military, we literally have boots on the ground in Israel right now. Now, that's not being said. And in a hearing where even Matt Gaetz again calls out the Secretary of Defense, and basically, I believe it was Secretary of Defense, they basically said, well, you're saying we don't have boots on the ground, but yet we built a pier over the water and we're taking fire there, and they have the right to fire back. So then I guess you're saying we don't have boots on the ground because you're standing over a pier over water. He laughed. He said, yeah, something like that. And so we're being word played. I thank you for being with us on Courageous Conviction. Remember, there's 5 episodes each week that we put out. We have to go down a lot of rabbit holes, so stay with us. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and don't miss tomorrow's episode on Courageous Conviction.